Hello and welcome to the Sensibly Speaking podcast. This is Chris Shelton, the critical thinker at large, coming at you on Google Play, iTunes, Stitcher, as well as with video here on YouTube. Welcome to show number 78, and this week we are going to really go for it in pushing the envelope of critical thinking with some of you. What I mean is that this week I have a very controversial guest who I am positive is going to make some of you very angry. But I hope you will give the full podcast a listen. Critical thinking involves looking and listening to alternative points of view. Politically, I think most of you know I lean left of center, but every day I watch Fox News as well as CNN and MSNBC, and I pay close attention to my right-leaning friends on social media, the articles they post, and what they have to say. I wouldn't be much of a critical thinker if I just put my hands over my ears and cried every time someone said something I didn't like. Echo chambers aren't great places to learn or grow, so I always encourage listening to opposing points of view. Maybe the result is that you're more certain of your existing views or opinions, but at least you don't have to wonder what the other guys are saying. Now, as an atheist, I am not a believer in God or gods, and I put myself very firmly in the atheist camp. However, I think of myself as a moderate because I advocate for a tolerance of belief. It's not up to me to tell you how to think or what to think. I see my role as more of an educator, and it's up to you what you want to do with the information I give you. As an atheist, though, I very strongly believe in the separation of church and state. Frankly, I've been somewhat disappointed in the atheist community's insularity on this, because they take on this issue as though they're the only ones who care about it, and that's just not true. As crazy as this may sound to some atheists, I think that atheists can accomplish their goals faster and easier when it comes to separation of church and state by joining forces with like-minded religious groups. For those of you who don't know, there are Christians and other religious groups who are very much in support of the legal separation of church and state, and who advocate for it. I'd like to see more atheists work with those groups to move that ball down the road. Believe it or not, we get more done together than apart, and on this issue, we need all the help we can get, especially with the current political administration. So, this week, we have David Silverman on board. He is the president of American Atheists and is an unabashed and very unapologetic atheist. I like a lot of what Dave is doing, and I agree with much of what he has to say, but not everything. I wanted to bring him on my show because I wanted to see what the limits were on tolerance and understanding of belief from one of atheism's most ardent advocates. When it comes to a total intolerance of religious belief, I can't go there, and I don't think that it's smart for atheists to either. However, I also understand that in any movement, there are going to be people who have views that are about as absolute as you can get, and for the atheists, Dave is that person. We discussed this during the interview, amongst many other things. So, without further ado, here is Dave. Okay, David, thank you very much for being on my channel and my show. I really appreciate it.
Great to be here, Chris. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, this will be fun, I think. Okay, so I suspect that for many of my viewers, this will be the first time that they've heard about you or the American Atheists organization. They might have, they're going to know about atheism. I mean, I've talked about it, but they're not going to necessarily know the structure of what you're doing, who you are, what it's all about. So first off, let's get your positions stated very clearly for people. What is it that the American Atheist Organization is about, and why?
All right. Well, American Atheists is America's oldest nonprofit organization by and for atheists. We were formed in 1963 by Madalyn Murray O'Hair, who led the fight successfully to take forced prayer out of the public school systems. And since then, we have been fighting for the separation of religion and government from the atheist perspective and for the equality of atheists in America's citizenry. We are known as the hardliners of the movement. We're the bad guys. We're the ones, I'm the guy who goes on TV and I call religion a lie, which it is, and a scam, which it is. And, if I go into if you go on and you know YouTube me, or if you read my book, well, if you YouTube me, you'll see me in really, really heated conversations. You'll see me against O'Reilly and Hannity and Huckabee and all those guys, and we're fisticuffing, and I'm trying to get in the word in edgewise, and so a lot of people see me and American Atheists as a very angry person and a very angry organization, and you're damn right, we're very angry, and we have very good reasons to be angry. I think the big thing that people don't know, to people who are completely unfamiliar with American Atheists, is that we're the good guys, and we're not here to be the bad guys. We're here to be the good guys, and when we say religion is a lie, religion is a scam, and I stick my neck out, and I'm not trying to stroke my own horn here. I'm just trying to put my position forth.
Yeah.
We stick our necks out and we say religion is a lie, religion is a scam, and everybody piles onto us. That's a good deed that we're doing. That's an important thing that we're doing. Calling religion a lie, calling religion a scam, and not respecting religion at all. I'm not talking about religious believers. I'm talking about religion, the lie of God, the lie of religion, the scam, the total scam of religion. Trashing that, calling it what it is, saying it's bad, saying it's shit, saying religion deserves to die is a good deed.
Okay.
It's the important thing that we do. It's not something that we do to piss people off. It's not something that we do to get people angry. We do what we do, and I say what I say to be good, to help our fellow human. Everything that I do is to help our fellow human. And so often, people who don't know me, who don't know us, they see me on O'Reilly, they look at the YouTube videos and they say, oh, there's that guy yelling again. Yeah, I'm yelling because I'm on a yelling show. I'm on a show where you have to yell to get your points out. And so all of a sudden people think I'm this really angry guy, which I am. But I'm angry with a good reason, and I'm trying to do good for the world, and we're trying to do good for the country. And, you know, I talk about this to some extent in my book. My book is called Fighting God. The original first draft working title of that book was I, Dick. And it was called I, Dick because I'd been called a dick so often, and I wanted to push back and say, no, I'm not a dick. I'm not a dick. I am right. We are right. Religion is a lie and a con and a scam. And if you go up to somebody who says, well, my truth is my truth and your truth is your truth, and you say, okay, you're hurting that person. You're legitimizing the whole concept that their truth can be different from your truth. If they say, hey, this is good for me, I like it, and you say, okay, you're not being brave, and you're not being kind, and you're not being humanistic. My mother used to buy, I remember one time, and Chris, you're going to get to know me really fast here because you and I haven't really met. This is my first appearance on your show.
That's right.
I'm one of those guys where you could say, so Dave, how's the weather? And I'll just keep talking. So my mother used to go to a psychic. In her last years, she was poor, and I went to her home one of the last times I was at her home, and I found out that she had been going to a psychic. Okay. She'd been paying money to a con artist. She'd been fed a bill of goods. She said intellectually that she knew it was a scam. But at the same time, she was fostering that scam artist. She was supporting that scam artist so that they could scam other people. I sat my mother down and I talked to her like an adult, firmly, with logic and reason and compassion. And I convinced her to never go to a psychic again. Because going to a psychic is not only foolish for you, it's an immoral act. Religion is exactly the same.
Okay.
It has absolutely no proof. It has absolutely no content. It's 100% give me money, give me power, give me support, and I will promise you lies.
Okay.
And I will tell you stuff that you want to hear. It is exactly the same as going to a psychic. It is exactly the same as going to an astrologer. It is a lie, it is a con, and it is a scam. And I did very well by my mother when I sat her down and convinced her not to go to a psychic anymore. And that's why I also say that you are doing very well for the person you're talking to, when you take it on the chin and you sit them down and you go there and you say, oh, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to talk about religion. Fuck yes. Talk about religion. When you say, I'm not going to talk about religion, you help religion and only religion. You don't help the adherents. You don't help the victims. You don't help society. When you say, oh, I'm not going to go there, we're not going to talk about politics and religion because that just gets everybody upset. Well, guess what? The reason it gets everybody upset is because they are suffering from the same cognitive dissonance that you suffer through as a Scientologist. And everybody suffers through. They're going through it. That's why they get all hyped up. And that's the reason you need to take that conversation. That's the reason you need to do it. They need to hear that shit. They need you to compassionately but firmly sit them down and say, oh, by the way, that God you believe in, and there's 3,000 other gods that you don't believe in. Exactly why would somebody believe in your God versus anybody else? Exactly why would you believe your God over Zeus? Exactly what is the proof? Well, I have faith. Oh, well, the Hindus have faith and they believe in the Ganesh god with the elephant head. So that must mean, because they have faith, that the elephant god Ganesh head, the elephant head god Ganesh must be real because they have faith, right? Take them through it. Take them through it. Call them on it. Pin them down. Yes, it's hard, but it's a good deed. Now, I'm not saying that we atheists need to go door to door. And I'm not saying that we need to do this all the time. And I'm not saying that this is something that we should be doing every day. What I am saying is so often, Chris, we atheists don't do it. We atheists avoid it. We have a knee-jerk reaction against talking about atheism, against helping people away from religion. Oh, no, we don't want to do that. No. We started talking about religion, and I stopped that because I'm an atheist, and I don't want to talk religion with a believer because they'll get upset. No. We have to internalize the fact that when an atheist sits down with a believer and convinces the believer that they're wrong with compassion and truth and honesty and logic, we need to admit that good has been done.
Okay, I get it.
Okay, that's all I'm talking about. We had this knee-jerk reaction against talking about religion and helping people away from religion, and that helps religion, and only religion.
Okay,
and it hurts us.
Now, I want to clear something up because the word religion is a very broad term that could mean many things. And the purpose in me asking you this question from the get-go was to make it very clear what your position is. But I don't think we've done that quite yet because we need to clear up what this term religion means. When you use that term, are you referring to, I've for myself in the course of my education on this over the last few years, have come up with 3 different basic ideas that the term religion covers. Personal belief, which exists in your head, right? Which is religious belief. Then there is religious practice, which is the action of what you do in carrying out your religion. And then there is organized religion, which is going beyond what you do. It's when many people get together, whether it's 2 or 2,000, and say, we're going to have a religion now, and we're going to start doing, organized religion. There's going to be rules, there's going to be guidelines, there's going to be moral codes, there's going to be, we're all going to agree on what to do and how to act and how to think. And that's organized religion. For myself, I'm sorry, but just for myself, I have found my disagreements and problems with religion to be able to be compartmented into organized religion. Because I personally don't care what goes on in somebody else's head. I care what they do, and I care when they want to enforce what goes on in their head in my head. Right? Okay. So let me clarify that for me.
Okay. So you defined religion using the word religious a few times. Well, you said, and this, Chris, I think this is one of the most important discussions that we as an atheist movement have to have. Yep. What do our words mean?
Yep.
Okay.
Good.
So my book, Fighting God, Chapter 1.
Yep.
It's all about the definitions of terms.
Great.
Okay.
Yep.
The first thing that we need to talk about is what is a God.
Good.
A God A God is not all of us. A God is not the universe. A God is not love. A God is not everything. A God is a sentient, supernatural consciousness.
Hmm?
A sentient, supernatural consciousness, something that is thinking and lives outside of the laws of physics and mathematics that govern the universe,
Hmm.
or if you want to get specific, the multiverse. So a God is not, a lot of people say, well, God is love. That's crap. Okay.
Okay.
If you say, I believe in God because God is all of us, that's a lie. That's just a word game. Here, let me show you something. This is my cell phone. Okay.
Yep.
If I name, my cell phone is a real thing.
Hmm.
It's a real thing. If I name my cell phone God and say, oh, I believe in God, I'm not a theist. I'm not a believer. I'm just lying. I'm just using metaphor to pretend that I believe. A
Okay.
God is a literal, living, supernatural consciousness.
Hmm.
A religion is the set of beliefs and practices, and I don't segment it out like you do,
Hmm.
the set of beliefs and practices around the God. So by default, a religion involves a supernatural entity. In other
Yes.
words, okay, so there's no such thing by my definition and by the definition that I use, and I understand and acquiesce the point that there are lots of clubs out there that call themselves religions. There are lots of, and the IRS agrees.
Hmm.
Okay, the IRS says, okay, you've got the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster. You're a religion.
Yep.
Okay, that's great for legal reasons. But in reality, that's not a religion, that's a club. In reality, if you don't have a God, you're a club. The secular humanist Jews are not a religion. They take religious exemption, but they're a club. Okay?
Mm.
So we have to have those specific terms. So when I trash religion,
Hmm.
I am trashing the lies and the practices around a fictional deity, a fictional God. Okay, and so that's what I'm talking about, and that makes all religion, a lie, because there's absolutely no reason to believe in any supernatural entities any more than there is a reason to believe in, Zeus or anything else, or psychics. There's no reason to believe in any supernatural entities. So we have a religion, we have all religion, which is all a lie, all a scam, all a con. Okay, now let's go to your definition.
Yeah.
Is it really okay for you to say, well, I have a friend, let's go to my mother again.
Hmm.
I have my mother, she likes her religion. She's not hurting anybody. She goes to temple or church when she wants to, and she does her thing. So what's the harm in that?
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
Let's take another question. Let me answer that question with another question. My mom likes psychics. She likes them. She goes and she believes in them, and she really believes in them, and she gives them $30 a week, and they tell her things that she already knows, and she likes them.
Hmm.
Great. Let's take another one. My mother likes astrologers. She goes to an astrologer every week, and she pays them $20 or so, and they tell them what she likes to hear, and there's no harm in that, is there? But there is. There
Mm.
is a harm here, Chris. There
Hmm.
is a harm in sitting back and watching a person be lied to. There is a harm in sitting back and watching a person be scammed. And some people who are victims of scams, a vast majority of people, and speaking as an ex-Scientologist, you'll back me up on this,
Hmm.
the vast majority of victims of scams are happy when they're victims of the scams.
That is absolutely a truth.
And so
Yeah.
that's an absolute truth, Chris.
Yeah.
So if somebody went to you when you were still a Scientologist and said, oh, that Chris, he's got his Scientology thing, and that's great for him. He's not hurting anybody. He's in complete control of his life. He's a great guy. He's making his own decisions. I'm gonna back off from Chris and let him stay and not challenge him on it. How the
Right.
fuck is that being a nice guy? How the hell is that me being nice to you? How the
Right.
hell is that okay? It's not. And you being stuck in Scientology is no better or worse than anybody stuck in any other scam. whether it be religion or homeopathy or anything else. And 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 this is where the humanism comes in. This is where the nice guys come in, because there's a bunch of people out there who call themselves humanists. I'm not an atheist, I'm a humanist. They're atheists, but they call themselves humanists, and they try to pretend, note my words, they try to pretend that they're being nice, that they're the nice guys, because they're tolerant of religion. They lock arms with the religious and they sing kumbaya, and my truth is my truth and your truth is your truth, and isn't that great? And bullshit, it's not great. They are harming the people they're with by legitimizing the shit in their mind. They are legitimizing the whole concept that you can be a Scientologist and it's completely reasonable, that you can be a Christian or a Jew or a Muslim or a Hindu, and it's good, it's good, it's good. No,
Okay,
it's not good.
Right.
It's not good. It's not harmless. It's not okay. And oh, by the way, most people are not like my mother, who was 80 years old at the time. Most people have children, or a lot of people have children. Guess what they're going to do with those children? Those nice Christians, those nice Jews, and nice Muslims. Guess what they're going to do with those nice children? Brainwash them. And it's a harmful process. It stops them from thinking. So when you look at a young couple and you say, oh, well, they have their religion, isn't that sweet? And they say, well, we joined a church for our children. Think about how messed up that is.
Right.
Think about how messed up that is. And we as a society take it and we say, oh, isn't that sweet? They joined a church for the kids, or they're exposing their children to their religion. Oh, well, they don't believe it, but they want to expose their kids to it to give them the choice. What kind of shit is that? It's all around the concept that we respect religion, that religion gets respect. Please remember, and this is such an important point, Chris, when you say your religion is good for you, or when you do anything to that effect, to any level, you help religion and hurt the adherents. You help the scam and hurt the victims. Every single time. Every single time you sit back and you say, my truth is my truth and your truth is your truth, is exactly what religion wants you to say. And it's the exact wrong thing to say from a humanistic perspective. We're the nice guys.
Okay, tracking on that. Now, having self-defined...
Just ask me about the weather, Chris, and I will just talk, and I'll just, you're never going to be able to shut me up. You got me on Skype. I'm here.
It's all good. It's all good.
We're not stopping.
No, this is good. Now, I have a quick question for you, and I know already that there are people who have listened to what you have said and are like, and some have probably already even turned this off, but for those who are still around, tell me again, or answer this question. Why should you not be thought of as a hater?
Well, it depends on what I hate. Okay.
Because that's a strong term, I think.
It's a very, very important term.
It is.
I do hate religion.
Okay.
I do hate scams. I do not hate religious people.
Okay.
I do not hate believers. There's a big, important difference. Religions are scams and believers are victims of the scam. My mother was a believer. My wife was a believer for a long time. It's not stupid to believe in God. It's wrong, but it's not stupid. Believers are not stupid. They're not morons. They're not idiots. They are victims of the brainwashing that they've received. Really hard brainwashing that they've received. And we are also victims of it. That's why we respect religion. We atheists, we still respect religion. So when we talk about, oh shit, I lost your question. What was your question?
No, my question was specifically, why are you not a hater?
Why am I not a hater? Well, because I think of myself as a lover. I really do.
And I get that. And I want you to make a case as to why.
I think of myself as a lover because I am here to help people away from something bad which claims to be good, something bad which has convinced a whole bunch of people that is good, just like Scientology, just like every other religion. It's a bad thing that convinces people that it's good. So people say, yay, I'm in this thing and it's good. And I'm loving them by telling them no. And yes, I take it on the chin. Yes, it's hard. Yes, I get a lot of hate. Yes, I get a lot of vitriol. I get a lot of fingers. I get a lot of swears. And everything I do is for the good of people. Everything that I do is for the good of people, to the detriment of that which we know is a lie and a scam. We know this. It is a lie and a scam. And It's against our culture to say that, and that benefits religion and hurts the people.
And that is the
So,
thing, because you are taking on a cultural reality.
yeah,
It is not
yes,
an individual reality. And if somebody can actually get that concept, then, and I'm talking about the believers out there, right? Then they'll get like why it is that we are not haters of individuals, right? In talking about
yeah,
this, right?
I hate no individuals, and so many times, and that's what people will do. They'll say, "You hate religion, and my mother was religious. You must really think my mother was a stupid person." No, no, it's not it at
Exactly.
all. But that's what religion tells them we say. That's what
Exactly. And
religion
that's the
tells
point
them we say about them.
right.
So religion is the source of all the anti-atheist bashing there is.
Mm-hmm.
And they say a whole bunch of things to us, including, oh, we hate them. We hate God. That's a great one too.
Mm-hmm.
We hate God. We're possessed. We're haters of the people. No, we're haters of that which deserves to be hated. The lie and con, the scam of religion. It deserves to be hated. It deserves to die. It deserves to be smashed out. And the believers deserve to be freed. The believers deserve to be helped. You deserved to be helped when you were in Scientology, and everybody who's still in there deserves to be helped, even if they're happy. Even if they're happy, because slaves used to, I mean, all over the world, slavery is a horrible thing, but there are slaves that are happy to be slaves because they've been brainwashed into thinking that. It's
Right.
wrong. We need to not let that sit. We need to not let that be okay, because it's not okay. What is okay is helping people to see that they're prisoners, helping people to take off their burqas, helping people to see that no, wearing a burqa is not feminism. It's just you're told that that's feminism. We need to see this, and we need to say it, and we need to say the words, and we need to be willing to be called names in order to do good. Some people call me a hater. I don't hate people. I don't hate anybody. I hate the lie that cons people.
Exactly. And that's why I wanted to give you a chance to make that distinction.
You see,
Because
you're letting
this
me
is
ramble too long. I'm making my throat dry.
see, because this is a war of ideas, and you
Yeah.
lose the war on ideas when you devolve to name calling, right? And that is something I've from day one I've thought, and put forward, right? Is that a tolerance of ideas includes a tolerance for a different ideas and a discussion about them without getting into, well, you're just a hater. Because because if
Right.
there's anything
And I
I
have,
hate, it's that.
yeah, and think about it. I mean, I don't have tolerance for the idea of religion. I think tolerance for ideas is a bad idea. Okay.
Okay.
Because some ideas are stupid and need to be not tolerated, and religion is one of them. And we need to have that conversation. Tolerance of religion is a bad idea.
Okay.
And yes, name calling. Let's talk about name calling. And you mentioned that that it's the weakest position. You're absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
It's the weakest position.
Yes.
And here's the point that I want to make to the people out there who are still listening to your podcast, who haven't turned up yet.
Yeah.
The sum total of scientifically valid evidence for anything supernatural ever in world history is zero. The sum total of scientifically valid evidence, all the Ghost Hunters show. The Ghost Hunters has been on the air for 11 seasons.
Yep.
Okay. They have spin-offs all across the world. Ghost Hunters Russia, Ghost Hunters England. Okay. They've never, ever, 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 ever found a single ghost. And if they show me one ghost, if the Long Island medium shows me one psychic prediction, if any ghost, if any god does anything ever supernatural, I will quit my job.
Exactly.
Why am I so confident? And it's important for you to understand that this is zero game. Okay, there are zero psychics, there are zero ghosts, there are zero demons, there are zero gods. Prove me wrong only once, anywhere, ever, and I'll quit my job, because of course I'll be wrong, and I want to quit my job because I'll be wrong.
Good.
So when we talk about ethics, and when we talk about how religion talks to us, it's important for us to understand how right we are and how wrong they are. And I'm getting to your point about name calling.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So atheism is correct. we say we're correct, they say they're correct. How do you know that they're wrong when they say they're correct and we're right when they say we're correct? Well, because we'll go back to definitions. Correct means something is correct if it is in complete agreement with everything else that we as a society have determined to be true. Okay? That's correct.
Sure.
That's atheism. Every single religion is incorrect by definition because it talks about something that goes against that which we know to be true and poses zero evidence. If I were to say, I know a man who can fly like Superman, you would say, well, that goes against everything we know to be true. You got to prove it. And if I said, well, if I feel in my heart that it's right, you say, well, you're full of crap. People can't fly like Superman. And even if I showed you a man flying like Superman, you'd take out your binoculars and look for a trick, okay? Because we know that people can't fly like Superman. We also know with much more strength that there are no gods, because gods break a hell of a lot more rules of laws of physics than Superman does, and they have exactly the same amount of evidence. Okay, so we have a concept that I want you to understand, and that is that atheism is by definition correct, and that all religion is by definition incorrect. So now we go back to what you were talking about with name calling.
Yeah.
When we talk religion, when we debate religion, in fact, I just made a post on Facebook today. I never insult with words. I never call them haters. I never call them morons. I never call them evil. I never call them stupid. I don't need to, because all of the facts are on my side. And I use those big global terms, and people say, oh, Dave, you're so arrogant. I'm not arrogant. I'm correct. 100% of the information that we as a society have says atheism is correct, and 100% of the information that we have as a society says all religion is incorrect. All of it. When you have that kind of a dynamic, when you're right and they're wrong, this is what you're going to see. Us using rational arguments, calm arguments, showing evidence, and them saying we're haters, we're possessed, and we're evil, and we're not morals. So that's what the religion does. Religion doesn't have anything on atheism. So all it does is call us names. All it does is straw man attack us. All religion does for me, when I go, again, going back to my appearances on television, all they do is put on 2 against 1, 3 against 1, 4 against 1, and shout me down, because they can't let me speak. They can't beat me with facts, because 100%, not 99%, 100% of the facts are on my side. Prove me wrong once, I'll quit my job. We need to own how right we are. And when you realize how right atheism is and how wrong, well, when you realize that atheism is correct and all religion is incorrect, and then you look at how religion behaves, you can see the desperation. You can see, do not listen to the heathen. You can see all of that playing out, because they have nothing to say about us from a qualitative standpoint. They have nothing to say about us from a quality standpoint, from an argumentative standpoint. They have nothing. So they lie. And when they lie, they say we're bad. They say we're haters. And they make us look as bad as they can, so that none of their flock will listen to us. Because if they listen to us, we make 100% of the sense.
Understood. Okay, good. I have a completely separate question for you now.
Okay.
Okay, good. We're going to go on to a point of what you do as the president of American Atheists, and specifically, there was this great quote. Penn Jillette, the magician, right? Penn and Teller. Said, I love this guy. And he said about your book, he said, to get Americans to accept gays as citizens and neighbors, we needed sensible, understated gay people, but we also needed flaming queens. As atheists strive to be understood and accepted, well, let's just say David is kind of a flaming queen, and I love him. So, okay, so there's this idea. Oh, yeah, I love this guy. So there's this idea, which most people probably have not heard of, which is called the Overton Window, which has to do with saying things or presenting ideas which people will accept. And people can Google this, the Overton Window. It's not a, hard to find thing, but it's just not talked about a lot. But it has to do with acceptability. So you put yourself out there as a firebrand, right?
Yes.
You're on the radical or even unthinkable end of the atheist spectrum, while
Oh, we
moderate.
think.
Well, no, I'm just no. I get it. I
You can
get it.
call
I'm
me
just
radical, but don't say unthinkable. We think.
no, no, and I get that. Well, unthinkable in the term of people can't even believe how out there you are is really what the term unthinkable means there. So and so if you're on that end of the spectrum, and the more moderate atheists are in the popular / sensible range, although again these are just words, it's not that you're not making sense. It
Right.
has to do with what people are willing to listen to when we're talking about Overton Window. So now
Yes.
my question for you is, having laid all that groundwork, what motivates you to take that position? Is it something you are doing to strategically advance the cause, or is it how you really are as a person, or is it maybe just both?
And that's a really great question, Chris. And the answer is most emphatically both.
Okay.
The answer is most emphatically both. What I am the Dave Silverman that I'm presenting to you is really me. It is not a position that I take because it's my job. However, this job is perfect for me because it perfectly fits the strategy and the needs for American Atheists, the organization. And I want to give a great. I'll try and be as brief as I can with this example of the Overton window, because it's really an important thing. And again, I talk about this in my book Fighting God, because a lot of what we do is fight that Overton, is move that Overton window. So I took over American Atheists in September of 2010, going into the Christmas season. One of the first things that I did is I put up a billboard out in front of the Lincoln Tunnel that said, "You know it's a myth. This season, celebrate reason." It was a Christmas billboard. It was the first time that anybody had done something so anti-religious, calling religion a myth at Christmas time, with a $25,000 billboard in front of the Lincoln Tunnel.
That's a bold move.
It's a bold move. Now, that billboard went so viral. It was on the news. It was on the news for a long time. It was on the national news of 9 different countries. 9 different countries. Okay.
Wow, one billboard.
And one billboard. And there was a time when I had 3 different national news companies here at headquarters waiting to take turns to interview me about this billboard, because calling religion a myth so brazenly was way outside that Overton window. Okay. Now, right after that, I put up another billboard. They're all scams. That took it another step, right? And I put Islam was on the billboard that time. So it was the first time that Islam was on the board, and I called it a scam. And so that got me more news. And then we put up more billboards that said, there is no God. We know you're right. And we put it all up and down the city of Des Moines, Iowa. Multiple boards. And then we took it's a myth, put it in Arabic, and stuck it up in a Muslim neighborhood here in New Jersey. And we put it in Hebrew, and we put it up in Brooklyn.
Wow.
Every single time we push it and we push it and we push it. And now here's the point. What if I took it's a myth and I put it back up on that same billboard in front of the Lincoln Tunnel again? What would happen? Nothing.
Right.
Because after 6 years of pushing that envelope, it is now inside the American zeitgeist to call religion a myth. It's not impressive anymore to call religion a myth. That is the shifting of the Overton window. That's what we did, and we did it with billboards, and you can see it. It's not a big deal anymore to call religion a myth. Atheist billboards are everywhere, and now when we put up 5 billboards, and we just had our Christmas billboard campaign, and we got lots of local press because we latched onto the Trump campaign. Our Christmas billboard was "Make Christmas Great Again, Skip Church." And it was we had it in 5 different locations, and we got local press, but not national press, very little national press. So the national press is dwindling. The harder and harder we get, the national press is dwindling. And why is that? Because we have successfully moved the Overton window. We have successfully taken the zeitgeist of America and put calling religion a myth inside of it.
Right, right.
Doesn't make news anymore.
Yeah.
The reason it made all that news was because it was outside that Overton window. And now that it's inside the Overton window, nobody cares. And that actually is real progress. It's a measurement of progress. When people look up at a billboard, an atheist billboard, and they say, well, that's progress.
You're right. No,
That's
you're
real progress.
You're right. You are moving that window.
Yeah, and so I embrace this position. I love this position. We are seeing actual movement on a national level. We are seeing actual progress on a national level, specifically from American atheists, specifically from our activities. I can map, and I do this in my book, I can map American atheist activities to increases in people calling themselves atheists, and map that to an increase in people willing to vote for an atheist as president. I can map it out. Correlation is not causation, but I can show you a lot of correlation that supports my assertion that American atheists, with our 6 employees, we are moving the zeitgeist of the country, and it's something that I'm really proud of. And so, yeah, I am a Firebrand atheist. I am every bit the Firebrand that I put out. But at the same time, it's really important that we do what we do, because we move the entire society with our extremism. Our extremism, which is just we're right. We are.
Right. No, I get that. And
yeah.
And that actually leads to my next question. And this is and again, this might be a kind of an important one. There's a meme out there with your picture on it that says your religion is stupid and evil. That means I'm better than you. Now, that's not a direct quote from you. I'm
kidding.
Absolutely positive it is not, right?
That's absolutely, definitely not my.
Not a quote from you, right?
Not a quote.
No, but it goes.
Your religion is evil. I didn't say it was stupid.
Right.
And what was the second part of the quote?
And that means I'm better than you.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
And
so
it's got your picture. Now, let me put a little bit more here. Now that usually goes from where I found it, and when I was doing my research on this, usually goes hand in hand with some criticism of American atheists as a group, that the group itself has become what it fights. That is, it's dogmatic, it's unthinking, it's a hating machine that just wants to tear down people's right to think and believe what they want. So let's talk about this, right? So how do you see, or first off, do you see that in some atheists, and how do you respond to this whole thing?
So first, let's say this is another example of religion trashing what it doesn't want you to look at.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, when they take a quote like that and says, "You're stupid and I'm right and you're stupid, so fuck you, David Silverman," that's obviously something that they're trying to make me look much worse than they are. Why are they doing that? Because they can't find anything that I've actually said with teeth in it. Mm-hmm. They can't find anything that I've actually said that suits their goals. Mm-hmm. A lot of people believe that shit. A lot of people look at, like I said, they look at my appearance on O'Reilly or Hannity, and they see me arguing back and forth, and O'Reilly says, "You think everybody is stupid, don't you?" And I say, "No." And the meme says, "David Silverman thinks everybody is stupid." And it's obvious that this is, again, it's the same thing. They don't have anything good to say. They don't have anything that they can use, so they just make shit up. Do I get some of that from the atheist movement? Yeah. Unfortunately, atheism and skepticism are not hand in hand. Yes. They should be. Yes. And so a lot of people look at those memes and they say, "Oh, David Silverman is an asshole because I saw it on the interwebs," without actually saying, did I actually say that? Where's the source? Where's the source for that quote? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of quotes out there about me, and there's a lot of memes out there, and some of them aren't sourced and still true, but a lot of them are not sourced at all, and they're just false. What I have to say to that is this isn't dogma. This isn't follow the leader. This is a civil rights organization, and we're trying to make the world a better place by helping people to see what is factually correct and what is factually incorrect. Religion is factually incorrect. If you hate the fact that religion is factually incorrect, it's still factually incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
If you hate the fact that religion is completely and utterly wrong, it is still completely and utterly wrong. If you hate the fact that in the world there is absolutely zero evidence for anything supernatural ever, it is still true. And those words need to get out. People need to hear that. I don't believe. I mean, James Randi started the Randi challenge, the James Randi challenge,
Yes.
trying to prove that nobody could be anything, that there would be nothing supernatural. I'm taking it into the religion aspect, but it's not original to me. I took it from James Randi, but the point is that people need to say this stuff, and people need to do this stuff. People need to hear these words, and that doesn't make us haters, and it certainly isn't dogma. Yes, I have a very clear vision on how we can win this war. Yes, I think every single person out there, if you don't have a belief in a God, you're an atheist. If you don't have a belief in a God, you should call yourself an atheist. If you don't have a belief in a God and you're kind of sort of on the middle, you're still an atheist because you don't have a belief in a God. If you don't have a belief in a God, but you like to call yourself by the name of the religion in which you were born and you like to operate some of the secular aspects of it, like a secular Jew or a lapsed Catholic, you're an atheist. And I'm going to tell you that you're an atheist because you are. And I'm going to tell you that you should call yourself an atheist because you should. And I'm going to put on you, I'm going to tell you logical, rational, reasonable arguments why I'm right and why you, as an atheist, are wrong for calling yourself something other than an atheist. I'm going to make logical, rational arguments. I'm not making a command. I'm not coming down and ordering you to do anything. However, I am telling you that you're going to do wrong. I am telling every atheist out there who doesn't call themselves an atheist because they don't like the word, that you're doing wrong. You're causing damage. You're doing bad for this country and your fellow human. And it's correct for me to do that. It's correct because you need to hear it, because you're just not going to think about it if somebody doesn't call on you on it. So this is not dogma. This is strategy. I can build out a strategy. If you want to compare us to religion, you're going to have to try really hard. And what I might suggest you do is actually look at what we're doing. I'm not asking anybody to follow me blindly. I'm not asking anybody to just believe what I say. I'm asking you to think about what I say, read my book, hear my arguments, read other people's books, hear their arguments, and decide for yourself. This isn't dogma. The dogma is I'm making a point. I'm making a case. I want you to hear my case. That's not dogma. It's a matter of humanism. And when they pile on, they say, oh, that David Silverman is just like religion. I'm sorry, you don't know what you're talking about. If you look at me and you look at American Atheists and you say, well, we're just like religion, I'm sorry, you really don't know what you're talking about. We're nothing like religion. We're the exact opposite of religion. We ask you to check us out. We ask you to do things for the good of humanity, not for reward. We don't lie. We don't cheat. Yes, we ask you for membership. Yes, we ask you for donations because guess what? This stuff ain't free. I have 6 employees. We're a nonprofit organization. We need your money. We need your donations. But I'm not putting a frickin' pool in my mansion, okay? I'm not. We're not getting rich here. We're doing things. We have our financials for American Atheists are audited every year, and we put those audits up on the web so that everybody can know exactly where our money is going. And we, like I said, we have 6 employees. We have no debt. And we have audited financials, and we will make our case. And it's not dogma if we say, check us out and come back at us. I mean, I challenge every single person out there to challenge me. If you think I'm wrong, bring it. Let's discuss it. Let's argue it. But you better be prepared to lose because I'm right, and I'm going to prove it. And I ask you to just not take my word for it, just take it for a maybe, and read. And come to American Atheists, come to our convention, and read my book and see if I make sense.
Right.
That's not dogma. That's not dogma. It's civil rights activism, and this is how we do it.
Fair enough. Okay, good. Well, I wanted to give you a chance to respond to that accusation because I know it's made quite often.
Yeah, and if you see any memes on the internet that imply that I think religious people are stupid or morons or bad or if I say I'm smarter, I'm better, blah, 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 those are false. I'm not a bad guy. They write bad things about me. Read my book and find out what I really think.
Very, very good. All right, totally different topic now, but again, related to all of this and controversial, this one. So I'm curious what you're going to say. So you're the founder, basically, you're one of the founders of the original Reason Rally from 2012.
I'm the creator.
Yeah, and that's a that's a big deal. That was the largest atheist gathering in world history, if I have that right.
Right.
So now, if we contrast that with the one that was held in 2016, which I actually did go to because I was still kind of in my little world back in 2012. But I went in 2016, and there were less attendees, and it did have a lot less influence than the 2012 one. I mean, that's kind of just a statement of fact. There was a lot of, I mean, in terms of size and whatnot. Maybe if we get into the Obama-Trump inauguration kind of influence.
No. 2016 was much bigger than 2012.
Yeah, exactly.
We had 50,000. We had 5 million people at Reason Rally 2016.
Yeah.
It's just an alternate fact.
But anyway, here's my question. So there was a lot of controversy that I hit on within the atheist world about going to the 2016 rally because of disagreements around social issues, and some people feeling that atheism had been absconded or subverted to some degree by social justice warriors who were trying to feed off its base to further their own agenda. So I'm really curious, what's your take on that?
I don't want to be friends or know anybody who organized any sort of a boycott against the Reason Rally for anything so stupid as there was too much feminism in it. I don't want to know those people. If I know some people, and I'm not friends with some people anymore because of this. Look, running a Reason Rally is hard. Creating the event is difficult. It takes a lot of real work from real activists who are doing their best. And we had a non-harassment policy, a no sexual harassment policy. And there were people who said, I don't like the fact that there were no sexual harassment policies, so we shouldn't go. If you did that, you're not my friend anymore, and I never want to hear from you again, because you're a short-sighted fuck. How in the world would you organize against a rally because there's too much feminism, or there's too much justice, or there's a sexual harassment policy? We're trying to win a war here. We're trying to do good and win a war. And some people just sat back behind their keyboards and said, you have a sexual harassment policy. I'm not going to do that. These folks not only don't deserve my friendship, they don't deserve anybody's friendship. They don't deserve anybody's support. And I think that it gets right under my skin when people try to undercut real activism because they see one too many people up there who are feminists. Oh, they're too feministy. Fuck you. I'm a feminist. And I'm really, 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 really proud to be a feminist. And I'm not going to back off from that. And I'm not going to be ashamed of it. And no, that doesn't mean we're a feminist movement. It doesn't mean we're a social justice movement. We're an atheist movement. We're broad. We're broad. And we're going to have people from this side and that side. Get the fuck over yourselves. And no, we're not going to have people harassing people and having it be okay. A good comprehensive sexual harassment policy has no negatives to it. And so no, I mean, you did strike. You asked. You said it was a contentious issue. It's really contentious to me. Okay.
Yeah, I get that.
It's really contentious to me because I've been an activist for 25 years, for 20 years, and for the first 14 of my 20 years, I was a volunteer. And most of the people who worked on the Reason Rally 2016 were volunteers, and they have other jobs, and they put blood and sweat and tears into that movement, into that event.
Yep.
And for anybody to undercut real activism from behind a keyboard because they think they know more about activism, or they think that there's just too much feminism, I'm not even going to justify that with, I mean, these people are not worth my time. My personal impression is that they're not worth anybody's time. And, I would just say that if you follow any blogger or vlogger that campaigned against actual activism and contributed to the low turnout of the Reason Rally, I would say that those people are worth unfollowing and leaving them behind, because they don't know activism. They're just talkers. There are people who were at the Reason Rally, who came to the Reason Rally, even though it wasn't their perfect event. Guess what? It wasn't my perfect event either. I wasn't running it. Somebody else was running it, and they did a really good job. And I'm not going to trash them because they did a different job than me. I think they did a really good job, and I think the Reason Rally 2016 was a really good event. And I'm going to tell you something. You mentioned the word influential. Guess what we had at Reason Rally 2016? We had 2 Congress people on stage.
Yes, you did.
We had 2 Congress people on stage for the first time talking to atheists. That's influence. That's a thing. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people didn't come to the second one. People came to the first one because the first one was supposed to be the Woodstock, right? The first one was Woodstock. It was the only one. It was going to be a once-in-a-lifetime event. And in 2016, it was just going to be another 4 years before there's another one. And so a lot of people didn't come. There wasn't a lot of hype about it. There wasn't a lot of good press about it. I can list off a few things that I may have done differently, or that other things might have been able to have done differently, but that's not the point. My point from this, and the point of the question that you ask, is I have really, really, really low tolerance for people who sit behind the keyboard and criticize actual activism. I have really, really, really low tolerance for people who say, "Oh, look at how hard you're working. You missed a spot. I'm not coming."
Right.
It gets me right under my craw. The people who you're talking about, I know some of them, and there are some of them that I don't know. And if you're one of the people listening, if you're out there, and you actively campaigned against the Reason Rally, and you're not apologetic about it, you don't regret campaigning against the Reason Rally, I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to know you. Please don't contact me.
Okay, fair enough. I will simply say that I had a great time at it. And we actually, when I was doing my podcast back then, it was with a friend of mine, Ruth, and we actually did a video there from the Reason Rally where we were kind of like, we didn't really get all the controversy because there wasn't any kind of crazy, weird SJW thing really going on there.
Amazing.
And I have...
Wow.
I know. It was actually kind of funny. I have some... I'm anti-extremism in any form that it takes. And I've seen extremism in the SJW camp, and I've spoken against that, which is not to say that I am anti-feminist or anything like that. I'm anti-extremism.
Okay, I understand.
You see what I'm saying? So, because of my background, right? So that's my take on the whole thing, and I just wanted to throw that out there to make my position clear on it too, in case anybody was wondering why I asked that question. So, okay, we're going to move on to a different topic now because we're running out of time, and there's a couple other things I wanted to ask you about before we go.
Okay.
This has really been very, very interesting. Let's talk about science for a second, because I don't know if you've observed this, but I certainly have seen that some atheists can get pretty dogmatic about science, science, as a sort of panacea, for all the ills of the world, right? Do you think that people can get too trusting of science, which is, after all, it's a human endeavor, it's an organized endeavor, there's corruption, there are mistakes made all the time, and there are still many more questions than there are answers provided by science, especially when it comes to matters of religious issues, like where do we come from, where are we going, is there an afterlife, blah, blah, blah. So, what do you think about that? Do you think there can be, I don't know, for lack of a better phrase, because I haven't really thought this through, but maybe a kind of science extremism amongst certain atheists?
So what is science, right? First, you have to ask, what is science?
Okay.
Science is a process of learning.
Yes.
Okay? That's what science is, a process of learning. It's testing and figuring things out. Okay? And it is the best we have. It is the best process that we have.
Yep.
Now, we're going to go back to my now is my empty glass of water.
Okay.
Okay? It's a glass. Okay? I look at it, I feel it, I test it, I learn. I test it. If I reach out and I don't look, I figure, all right, so now I'm figuring it out. I'm holding it. What is it? I'm testing it with my hands. I'm learning what it is. Science is learning. Learning never ends because we're always learning. This is a glass. Can I prove it with 100% certainty? What does that actually mean? I mean, what if I'm in a vat in a spaceship and this is all just a scene out of the Matrix? Then this isn't a glass. This is just a stream of ones and zeros in my brain.
Right.
Right? But I know this is a glass. I'm sure this is a glass. I know this is a glass. We use these words sure, definite, certain all the time, even though we could all be brains in a vat. Okay, so we talk about science being dogma. It's correct to be a science extremist if you understand what science is. Okay? If you say, I'm a science extremist because we know everything that we need to know, and this is exactly the way the universe works right now, that our current knowledge is correct. That's crap. That's bullshit. Okay? If you're saying, I'm a science extremist, this is the best way we have to learn anything, and all of the data points to supporting these specific terms, and I'm going to look at that data, I'm going to make a determination of certainty about that, about the conclusions of that data, and I'm going to say that this is definitely a glass, asterisk, and when some evidence comes out to show me differently, I'll see it and learn about it and maybe change my mind. And that's always has to be the way it is. Now, you mentioned, so when we talk about science extremism, we have to understand that science is a process of learning, and that it's the best process that we have right now, and that we can come to conclusions and then learn later that our conclusions today are wrong. But that doesn't make our conclusions today any less firm. However, the delta between the two has to be considered. Okay, I am sure there is no God. Now, when God shows himself, I'll take the new data. When Santa Claus lands on my roof, I'll take the new data. But I have to understand that the odds of that, A.C. Grayling wrote in his book, he uses the phrase vanishingly small. Okay, vanishingly small. In mathematical terms, the limit as the odds go to zero. Okay, think about it like that way. So we have this non-zero, but really, really close to zero chance. So when we're talking about, when people talk about people being dogmatic, a lot of it resides in that area. A lot of it resides in, well, they're not even giving the hope that there's an invisible magic man in the sky. Well, no, I don't have any hope that there's an invisible magic man in the sky. I don't give it any relevance because it goes against everything that we know to be true, and there's no data to support it. Yeah. It is possible, theoretically, that in 100 years, Santa Claus could reveal himself. It could happen. You can't prove it, definitely won't. Therefore, do we say Santa Claus is probably not true? No. We say Santa Claus is definitely not true, because the odds of Santa Claus actually coming true, as far as we can tell today, are vanishingly small. So when we talk about science extremism, we're talking about that. We're talking about the difference between the philosophical knowledge and the scientific knowledge. Okay, knowing something well enough to say I know it for certain, and knowing something 100%, which nobody knows anything 100% because we could all be brains in a vat.
Right.
And this is the place where religion sits, where it says, aha, atheism doesn't know everything. We know everything, but atheism doesn't know everything. No, nobody knows everything. We know a lot more than religion does, and we're going to continue learning through the process that is scientific. Now, before we get off this topic, you also mentioned, well, where are we going? Right? Where are we going? That science can't answer those questions. Science isn't supposed to answer those questions. Those are philosophical questions. Science doesn't answer philosophical questions. You can't learn where we're going. You can't test where we as a society are going. You can't test it. You can't prove it. You can't disprove it. So that's not a scientific process. And so a lot of times religion will say, well, science can't teach you everything. It can't tell you where we're going. It also can't tell you what my favorite color is. It also can't tell you, what that cloud looks like in the sky, or how much awe you feel when you look at the stars. Science can't tell you that. That doesn't mean science is a failed instrument. It means science only tests that which is testable. Science only lets us learn that which is actually learnable.
Right.
And you can only learn through experimentation and observation.
Exactly. Good points. Very good points. And with that, we've reached the end of our time and the end of my questions. So I'm really glad that, that we got to fill all that out with so much information.
Well, Chris, I want to thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah.
Let me just do a couple quick plugs here.
Yes, please.
Okay, American Atheists is the organization that I run.
Mm-hmm.
We were founded in 1963, and we really do want your membership and your money. Yes, it's expensive to do this, and no, this doesn't make us a religion. It makes us a civil rights organization that is very efficient and is deserving of your contributions and is deserving of your financial and membership support. So please check us out at atheists.org. Right now we have a donor match going on. If you donate $10 a month or more, that donation is matched for the first year. So $10 a month gets us $20 a month, and that's the stuff that keeps our lights on. Also on the webpage at atheists.org, you will find our audited financials, which we do every year voluntarily so that you can know where your donation dollars are going. Please support American Atheists. Also, please buy my book.
Yes.
My book is called
Amazon?
Yeah, Amazon's a great place to get it, or any Barnes & Noble, any bookstore.
Okay, great.
The name of the book is Fighting God, and it is the first book by an atheist activist to be published by a major publisher in American history.
Mm-hmm.
And it's doing really well. And I'm really, really happy. We just got off I think a 30-city, 4-country, 3-continent book tour.
Wow.
It's really, yeah, it's going great.
Wow.
The book is called Fighting God. You can get it on Amazon. My Twitter handle is Mr. Atheist Pants, which is a name that Stephen Colbert gave me on his show. American Atheists is also on Twitter and Facebook, and I'm also on Facebook as well. So please follow us. Please follow American Atheists. Please buy my book, Fighting God, and please join American Atheists. We need your membership. We need your support, and we need you to talk about us. We need you to spread the word. American Atheists is doing good because we're good. We want to do good, not for any sort of reward, not for any sort of bribe, not for any sort of not because we don't want to go to hell when we die. We're doing good, and it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard, and it's getting harder with this new presidency, and we really could use your support. So thank you for your consideration, and thank you, Chris, for having me on your show.
Absolutely, man. This was fun, and like I said, educational and informative, which is all what my channel's all about. So thanks for giving me your time, and we will talk to you again soon. Okay, and that was my interview with Dave Silverman. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I certainly could have learned a few things and certainly are getting a very clear idea of what the American Atheists are all about. I am going to be striving, by the way, to get some opposing point of views on this show. I'm going to have to do some reach out in order to find those folks who are willing to come on board here. But just so you guys know, I am looking for that as well. So that all being said, thank you very much for coming around. I would very much appreciate any commentary or feedback you have on the show, on Dave, or on what you have to think, what you think about what he had to say. Go ahead and leave it in the comment section on YouTube or at the sensiblyspeaking.com website. Thanks again, and I will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.